and we're live for the for Koraniyule with Judas, who is here to tell us a few things about Judaism and rabbis and a few stories.
Yeah, I got a story that'll make the Muslims in the room very angry.
Do you want to
Well,
make them angry?
no, but I want to get the truth out like Kanye West is.
Uh huh. What the truth about Muslims?
No, the truth about, they, the tribe that shall not be named.
Right. Well, they're in the news the whole time, so I don't know what it's about. It's almost as if they can't. Well, whatever they do, they just get talked about, even when they say we don't want to
See,
be
this
talked
all makes
about.
sense when we keep in mind Hashem's great divine plan to bring the Messiah, because we are, in fact, on the verge of Messianic revelation, as confirmed by our friend Sam Samuels.
Yes.
Okay. So the story goes like this is an article on practical Kabbalah. So Rabbi Ovadia Yosef of blessed memory quotes an incident which occurred with the great genius Rabbi Abraham ben Musa, one of the greatest luminaries of the Sephardic communities of North Africa, where he recited there also lived a Sharif, the Muslim spiritual leader who happened to be an avid anti-Semite. Rabbi Abraham had a God-fearing Jewish neighbor who once accidentally passed through the Sharif's yard. The Sharif immediately pounced on him and killed him. When Rabbi Abraham's mother heard about the unusual and untimely death of her Jewish neighbor, this caused her great anguish, and she began to cry as her son Rabbi Abraham returned home from the Talmudic hall. He asked his mother, "Why are you crying?" She then proceeded to tell him what had transpired. When Rabbi Abraham heard this, he told his mother, "I must avenge the death of this righteous Jew." He then took a piece of paper and wrote a holy name of Hashem on it, and then he went and purchased a necklace with many colors and varieties of beads on it. However, he went next to the Sharif's home and announced loudly, "Who wants to buy beads?" The Sharif's housekeeper came out of the yard and told him, "Jew, do not pass here lest the Sharif kill you like he killed another Jew who passed here." Rabbi Abraham replied, "It is good you told me about this. I see you are a good woman. Take these beads from me as a gift." The housekeeper took the beads, and as Rabbi Abraham watched her admiring the beads, he told her, "If you take this piece of paper and throw it into your master's well, I will give you another necklace." She heeded Rabbi Abraham's instruction, and she took the paper and threw it into the Sharif's well. True to his word, Rabbi Abraham gave her another necklace. At that time, the Sharif's children, grandchildren, and all of his servants were in the house altogether, amounting to 70 people. When they drank water drawn from the well, they all died along with the Sharif.
What's a
The Sharif,
sharif? What's a sharif?
Sharif, there's different. One, it can either be a Muslim cleric or it could be a Muslim who has lineage to Muhammad.
So, so the Jew revenged himself on him by poisoning his whole
Yeah, he
family.
poisoned the well with
Yes.
the magic parchment. Yeah, but I want to continue with the story. Uh, so the I don't know. Then Rabbi Abraham ran away to Tunisia. What do you think of that story?
Oh, so
Pretty amazing,
after
right?
he committed the murder, he ran away to Tunisia. From
I
where?
didn't read it, but that's what seems to be the case.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, this isn't a very nice story, and it's not going to help Jewish-Muslim relations. And, well,
Well, it's there on halachayomi.co.il.
what?
And it comes in English, French, Spanish, and Hebrew.
Well, I must say, you're looking good, Judas.
Thank
You're
you.
looking very well. Even
Thank
handsome,
you.
I might add.
Thank
Has
you.
something happened? You're looking very pleased with yourself. It's the smartest I've seen you be with your hat. You're very
I've been
well
studying
dressed.
Kanye and Jones and Fuentes, learning from the masters.
Right. I mean, what do you think of all the fuss?
I think EA is trying to wake Jewish people up to the fact that our elites don't care about us.
Um, how? Well, they do seem to have more protection than Gentiles, so you still seem to have the edge over Gentiles.
Yes, of course you have the edge over Gentiles because we play both sides of the field.
Yes. So you were saying you wanted Kanye. Sorry, there is a message from Kanye, and it is, and I'm not sure what you think the message is. It's a warning, you say.
Yeah, I just want to preface this: if Ye, Mr. West runs for president on the Republican ballot, I will vote for him.
Why would you vote for somebody who clearly doesn't like your people?
No, it's a matter. See, he's a Christian and he really wants us to live in Israel, and I want us to live in Israel too. Look at my watch; it even has Hebrew letters on it. Can you see the Hebrew letters?
Okay, so you I have to have a show it again because I didn't see it the first time round.
See, this is how
I can
Jewish I
see a
am.
watch, but I cannot see the Hebrew. But I'll take your word for it. For
It's that's why I wanted to use my regular cam, but we don't have StreamYards.
so, um, but you see, in a way, you're like Vincent. You don't seem to make sense. You you seem to want things that would be bad for your people.
Haven't you ever heard this saying, order out of chaos?
Yes, yes. So you want a clean sweep of things. You want people to be aware that there's a new broom or something.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's an imminent. See, Ye is trying to wake us up to the fact that there is an imminent threat to the Jewish people, and this goes along with the Messianic redemption, and that Sammy has covered many times already. Um,
Okay, but I mean, I think a lot of people, Jews are just, and I suppose Christians too, because they also expect their Messiah, that when he comes, they don't have to, think about all these difficult questions anymore. It'll all be solved for them.
Watch
But
party at my place tonight?
yes. Sorry about that.
okay,
I want to get the chat. I can't get the chat right now.
right. I don't think anything much is happening. There's only one person saying Altana, who I like him. But somebody, okay, well, somebody points out another, but not in the chat. He says to me, the poison also killed the family of the Sharif, who were innocent, and it is being put to
No, they
you that
weren't.
you shouldn't be gloating over the death of innocents.
No, see, Hashem knew in his. See, this rabbi was a great Kabbalist, and he knew he saw things through divine spirit, and he knew that this was a bad seed. This family, this household was a bad seed, and it had to be uprooted. That's where we come along with the idea of eradicating Amalek. Next, you're going to start arguing, oh, should we be nice to Amalek too? It's just
Well,
ridiculous.
well, the difficulty with Amalek is that we don't know where they are. I mean, I
Yes.
know there is rabbinical opinion to the effect that they have become extinct, and Jews no longer need to worry about exterminating them. But we're not sure really.
No, we know who Amalek is.
Well, you can't find him.
Yes, he is. The Armenians and the Germans. They are Amalek. I have identified them for you.
Is there rabbinical consensus on this
Yes.
issue?
Yes, there is.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
Well, I mean, just because I know that there is a rabbi
I have
who.
a video on my channel about Armenians, a rabbi talking about Armenians being Amalek. Hold on. What? Armenians It doesn't mean we kill them, obviously. I'm being a little tongue in cheek,
Well,
but
you'd
the
get into
rabbis
trouble, wouldn't you?
they do talk about like the rabbis argue. The much later argue they argue like no, these people are genetic Amalek, but in terms of halacha, we do not endorse killing people who are Armenian or German. But this Rabbi Abraham ben Musa, was a great Kabbalist and mystic and very holy man, and so he was able to do things that we on our much lower spiritual level are not allowed to do.
Right. I mean, I would have thought that if Amalek existed, he would well, he would have a religion, wouldn't he? I mean, what other way would there be of identifying them if if they look like anyone? I assume that just as Jews can look black or white or yellow or brown. Does the same apply to Amalek?
No, it could be any color.
Yeah,
That's
so
the thing.
it's the same thing.
No,
And
you can have no. You can have like Hamites who look Asian, and you can have Shemites who look black. They all that whole thing of Shem being all the Semites and no Shem being the African. That's nonsense. They all mixed. They all mixed. They all married each other's cousins, and then they went off. And then Ham's people, like the sons of Ham, took like daughters of Yafet and like with them or whatever to Africa with them. And that's how they it was through cousin marriages through the three brothers of the sons of Noah. I mean, three sons of Noah. Noah.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a way that it's kind of good that they all got mixed up. So, I mean, the only way of identifying somebody is to ask them questions about their beliefs and their principles and observe, how they behave and see if it checks out about, what they say they do. Rather than assuming, people of, one race must all be good or all be bad, because I think, it's not Lord of the Rings. I know people who like reading Lord of the Rings, prefer this, simplistic view that, if you come from the tribe of whatever, then you must be a good guy, and if you come from another tribe, you must be the bad guy.
Okay.
And obviously that's racist. But anyway, white people seem to be.
No, but that makes so much sense because we're all people have been. The Quran even says we've all been separated into tribes.
Yes, but the sort of also saying that all tribes should keep their identity, but also be guided by the Quran, which is a good compromise.
That's why
isn't
we
it?
have secular Quranism with Israeli characteristics.
Yes, well, I hope they will adopt it one of these days because, because secular Torahism would be too hard on Jews.
Oh, secular tourism is gay.
Well, why do you say that? It would have 36
Because
capital offences.
That's just Reform Judaism.
No, because I would have to
No,
implement all the
there's
capital
another word
offences
for
of
it.
the Torah, so it wouldn't be gay. People would be executed left, right, and centre under
No,
secular
then
Torahism.
so that's just then you've divorced Judaism from its spiritual core.
Well, I mean, I think we're all agreed that, people can pretend to believe in stuff that they don't really believe in to get out of trouble. So they can say, yes, I believe in God, but actually they don't. But so I mean, if God exists, he would know they're lying, but ordinary people wouldn't be able to tell. So, but if you commit any of the, death penalties, and then at least people will be able to convict you in a court of law. I
Well,
mean, that's the whole idea.
it's my
Isn't it?
understanding that the death penalty is only given to Jews who sin out of rebellion. First, they have to have a total of two kosher witnesses. For example, the witnesses must be male. One male, one female witness isn't good enough. It has to be two kosher male Jewish witnesses, and they have to give them a warning. Non-Jews don't get a warning.
Okay, but I'm just assuming that all these.
So I was seeing I would if I was a Noahide like a non-Jew I would still feel pretty nervous about living in a Noahide society if like I don't even know what a Noahide society would look like if it's even like how You know, like there was what the Chabad Rebbe said about Education Day USA, but no one really talks about it.
Yeah, because I mean there's been no Heights state that we know of, and no Heights only came into existence last century. But what I meant to say about the death penalties is that I will just grant that the person to be executed was properly guilty. Like let's assume that they did really do it. The objection to many people would be, well, it doesn't see sound, it doesn't deserve a death penalty. You shouldn't execute Jews just for, breaking the Sabbath and being rude and disobedient and the thing that I find most interesting is Nidaka. Do you know the one I mean?
Yes, the rebellion, the Jewish city that goes into idolatry,
Yes,
and then
becoming a
they have to kill
citizen
everyone.
of a city that has gone astray. And I would have thought this would be very worrying for Jews who live in Christendom in Europe because I don't know how many generations of Jews who've been citizens who were born and lived and died in these cities, these European cities who are part of Christendom.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm saying it's bad for you guys. It's forget
No,
Gentiles.
because no, I think. Well, I think the reason why you, Claire, have been rejected by the rabbis is because they believe you teach false doctrine, and your doctrine will only lead us astray from the truth.
Well, the truth is that if you want to escape from all your terrible death penalties, you would have to convert to Islam. And of course, they don't want to hear that because they want to, I guess the
No, I
rabbis
only
don't want to
no. I
lose you
think
guys to
the Jews are
Islam.
like. Sorry, I'm sorry for talking over you. No, see, the Jews, we believe that the theocracy will come for the Jews in Israel after Messiah comes, so the Mashiach.
But
So I'm really
again,
holding
this
out
thing
for the
about the Messiah,
Mashiach.
it's like you have to do certain things. You don't want to do it, and you think, oh, the Messiah will come. So, I mean, but I don't think it's quite
No,
right
we have
because
to move.
you're
All
treating
Jews
him
have
like
to move to
a
Israel.
maid of all work. Doing the stuff you don't want to do.
No,
I
you're
mean,
right.
what if he
All Jews
doesn't
have to move
arrive?
to Israel. All Jews have to move to Israel. Absolutely.
But I guess they don't want to go. But, maybe some of them don't like Jews.
Then they
They
will.
say, well, it's full of
Then
Jews.
if
We
they
don't want to
don't go
go
by
there.
if the Jews don't go by choice, then they will leave by force, traumatized, penniless, and humiliated.
Well, why don't you go now?
Because my family is lackadaisical, and it's and and like the process, like it's like all intimidating and impersonal. I'm not really sure how to do it. And I think I need to get a rabbi's letter of approval before I start. So it's kind of hectic.
Yes. I think
And
Rabbi Mizrahi was saying it's very difficult for religious Jews to get in, and it seems that the secular government of Israel prefers non-observant Jews, Reform Jews, and they don't
Goyim,
like Orthodox Jews.
no, they let Gentiles in.
Yes, whom they
About I was
whom they
rap
convert to
no rap
Reform Judaism, don't they?
right Rabbi David Bar Chaim, who I don't endorse, but I still respect him to an extent. He said he postulates that the demographics of people who are halachically Jewish in the state of Israel is only 65% when the official number is 70%. What do you think of that, Claire?
Yes, I heard that. I heard him say that on the video that you linked to me. Well, it's very worrying, isn't it? I was saying about all these terrible things happening to British people. White people being called the global minority because all the non-white people have been called the global majority when they used to be called BAME, which is British, a black, Asian minority ethnic. So by changing the name, the different groups of people would be made to feel a certain way, and the intention is to make the white people in their white homelands feel nervous and a minority, and I understand that if you're Jewish and you're surrounded by all these hostile Arabs and you're ethnic composition is getting less and less Jewish, I guess that would worry you, wouldn't it? Because you think, well, it's not just that we're surrounded by Arabs who hate us. The people in our country are not
That
even Jewish, or
yeah,
most of them are not.
they are the Erev Rav.
What does
Do you
that
know what the
mean?
Erev Rav?
I
Are you
know it
familiar with
means
that?
mixed multitude. What hangers on? People who weren't really Jewish but thought they'd come along for the ride. Is that
Right. So those people, so now the Erev Rav refers. They are the reincarnations of those Jews who converted from the Egyptians. They are. It says in the Kabbalah that they will the Erev Rav, the evil Jews who are against Judaism, and they include the Reformed and conservative rabbis and their clergy, and not necessarily their congregations, God forbid to say, but they have been deeply influenced by the Erev Rav, and they are extremely problematic.
well, yes, and I think that your problem is that you don't have a pope because and that means that you get all these different groups of Jews saying we'll
We do
just
have
do
a pope.
do well, only the Catholics have a pope, but I'm saying you
No,
know
he's Judas Fly Chai.
no. Okay, I mean you could say he was a chief rabbi or something, but even then the way it is in Israel is that the Sephardi. The Sephardis and Ashkenazi chief rabbis kind of take turns, don't they? They wrote, well, they take turns, but the only way to clarify all these questions that have been building up for centuries is actually to have a Sanhedrin, right? But then that would
Right,
mean
exactly.
yes, and then you would have a final. Well, it would be a kind of Supreme Court of Israel. I know you actually have a Supreme Court of Israel, but it's a secular court, and it
Yeah,
would
they're
be
gay.
ruled by rabbis. But maybe it would be a bit dangerous to take part in politics in such a theocracy because you can imagine all these rabbis, they don't like each other and they want to get rid of each other, and the 36 capital offences, and they can say, oh, I saw
You know,
he's an
it's
adulterer,
just.
he's a
But the thing
sodomite, he
is,
missed her.
Miss Claire, is the thing is, in my religious upbringing, how I was taught by my rabbis, I am never going to need to worry about capital offenses until Messiah comes. So I don't. We keep every year we have the same conversation in different over the course of months, and we came to some. I keep saying the same thing. You keep saying the same thing. But where do we go from here?
Well, we need to kind of remind people of our position. And my position is that Islam offers you guys a way out. Because, okay, what I say is that, assuming God exists, and he never said, oh, don't worry about the 36 capital offences, I won't, kill you for all those things. But he didn't say that, and you guys are
Well,
supposed to
the thing
believe that
is,
the
Claire, we
Torah is
also
true.
believe in the afterlife. We believe in heaven and hell. And if I don't get the death penalty in this life, then
Then
somehow
it carries
it will.
over to
It's
your
gonna
next life.
exactly. It's gonna be much worse. According to, I've read, the statements in our rabbinic lore. I don't feel the need to because it's very autistic, but it's like it's worse. That's like a worse experience. So my message to people who are worried about these capital offenses: just believe unto me, I, Judas Fly Chai, base Persian Michelin guy, and I will show you the light, life, and the way.
Okay. But on the one hand, you say he's coming, and on the other hand, you say the Messiah's coming. On the other hand, you're saying he's not. So
No, because there are a lot of klipas. Do you know what a klipa is?
what? Sorry, I didn't hear
Do you,
that.
do you know what a klipa is?
Khalifa? No, I don't.
Okay. Klipas are created by sin, and right now we have a lot of them floating around in the ether. Just so you all know, keeping your car on for 1 second on the Sabbath is equivalent to turning on 3,000 matches at the same time. So if all Jews just commit to simply not driving, that will make a huge difference.
I suppose probably a lot of Jews break it. I mean, I remember Rabbi Mizrahi complaining that there were some synagogues in L.A. that had valet parking, and he couldn't get
Yes,
over
Rahman
it.
Islam. God forbid. I know that synagogue. The associate director at that synagogue, his name is Menachem Mendy Weiss, with a W. He's an Ashkenazi rabbi. Was an Ashkenazi rabbi. I don't consider him a rabbi. He was convicted recently, a few years ago, of sexual molestation of a young boy in the 1990s, and he's in jail now for another 3 years. And I just want to throw out that same synagogue that has the valet parking Nitzach Synagogue in Los Angeles on Rexford Boulevard, adjacent to Olympic Boulevard and Pico Boulevard Avenue. I mean, that had a pedophile rabbi for years.
Right.
And I actually was at a wedding where that same rabbi who molested that young boy, he's a young man now. He was the officiating rabbi, and he gave like a story, like he did a sermon on the Psalms. It was this, now looking back, it's just icky. And I remember seeing him with his son, his young son, who's now looking back, it's weird. His son looked very pious with like the side locks. It was very weird, very very disturbing, sick and disturbing. A lot of dysfunction there. I've gone there. They have kosher events there. They have good speakers at that synagogue sometimes. I've gone in the past, but yeah, a lot of sickness out there. What do you think, Claire?
Well, the thing is, people don't know what the rules are, and this is the problem.
I think not molesting boys is a very clear no.
Yes, I know. Well, obviously, we're not, supposed to be sex offenders, but I'm saying, all these rules that Jews are supposed to follow, and it's like you have got so many different kinds of Jews, and some are ultra orthodox, and then if you ask Jews like, well, which group should represent you out of all of you different ones, there would be a huge fight, wouldn't there? Because Duvet would probably say, well, the more secular Jews than they are Orthodox Jews, therefore the secular ones should represent Jewry, and I'm sure the Orthodox ones would disagree violently.
Right.
It's an echo. Can you do anything about that? It's quite distracting.
Sorry about that. I was mute myself.
So that I think is the problem. People not knowing. The thing is, if Jews were mostly Orthodox, and then people would think, oh, we're being such terrible people. We're not following our own rules. Oh, what are our rules? And they might even start asking themselves that question. But if you guys who are supposed to be setting an example are just sort of making up your rules as you go along, then you set a bad example, and everybody just follows your bad example, and then the world goes wrong, right? You got quiet.
Ricardo Williams is in the chat. Hail Ricky.
So I think that's a
I
problem.
don't know who this Black Knight 88 guy is.
He's a Christian. Are you in touch with him? Have you got his email?
Me and Ricky don't talk anymore.
Oh, right. Oh, that's a shame. Do you want to tell us what happened?
It's just, there's no reason to,
What, because you haven't changed your mind about anything either?
When I see him in the chat, it's like enough,
Yeah. But has he changed his mind about anything? I don't. He's now advocating.
He's a father of another kid now. I heard.
Yes, he's got two kids now, hasn't he? But I think he's a proponent of Christian nationalism. Is that what his position is now?
I don't know. I heard him on Luke Ford a while back. I have the stream somewhere.
Oh, right.
And
But I mean, I don't think anybody has any new ideas, and I thought the the fuss over Kanye is, well, I think a bit sinister, frankly.
wait, what canon is sinister?
Well, I mean, I think it's pathetic that anybody should care what a rapper who's not a politician, who's not an intellectual, why are they so excited about what he says? I mean, we all
Who? A
know he's
rabbi?
bipolar. What?
You mean? Oh, you mean Ye?
Yes, yay. Who?
Okay, yeah, right. He's crazy. He's autistic, dude.
I know he's bipolar. So with bipolar people, when they get into too much trouble, their therapist is going to say, oh well, he's not responsible for what he said because he's bipolar, and I'm going to testify that that he's not quite there, and then he'll get out of trouble.
And that's
So
why autistic people are sort of like used in these circles to be like mouthpieces.
yeah, yeah, and then they say things, and everybody giggles and cheers, but they'd be too afraid to say the same thing. But then what's the point of having somebody who isn't taken seriously saying this thing that they keep wanting to say? I mean, they are being very childish, very juvenile, but I guess
Right.
that's what they've become because no one will marry them,
Well,
and
that's
I
the
guess
thing
people who
is
don't get married are
this.
just childish.
This is a symptom of how we know that Christianity is kaput.
Well, it's been kaput for centuries. I mean,
Yes.
I think the whole point of the American Republic, I don't think it was just, the Boston Tea Party and no taxation without representation. It was a founding father saying, we don't want to pretend to be Christian anymore, and, we don't want to be forced to say these things that we don't believe in.
Oh, then why was George Washington a Philo Semite?
I didn't know he was he?
Rabbi Mendel Keston says he is.
I suppose what they were saying was can Jews come and have equal rights to our new country, and they were thinking, oh yes, yes, even Muslims can, and then I guess a few Christians said, well then why are you discriminating against us Christians because just because we're the wrong kind of Christian, and well it's a very
Yeah, bringing Jesus in America was a mistake.
Well, I think it was meant to happen anyway. I mean, if you didn't have Jews, you wouldn't have Christianity because
Well,
Christianity was a cultural appropriation of the God and the scripture of Jews.
well, we must understand under the lens of our sages who tell us that America is the last stop before Mashiach.
Well, who said that?
Rabbi Chaim Volozhin, student of the Rabbi Eliyahu Kramer, also known as the Vilna Gaon, also known as the Gra.
Are they both alive or dead?
They were alive 300 years ago.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I mean, well, what would they have, what could they have said about America?
It's sinister.
I mean, sorry, what did they say
Hence
about it?
my upside down flag.
What? What are you talking
I
about?
put my flag upside down.
Oh, okay.
You didn't notice?
Oh, yes, yes, which is a sign of distress, isn't it?
Yes, because Biden's in office and gay marriage, same-sex marriage is a thing, and abortion is indiscriminately legal.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
yeah, a lot of reasons to be distressed, and also we're not a Noahide theocracy under the rule of Chabad. Because
well,
I think Chabad has claimed Noahide supremacy in America.
well, I guess it's because they're the group that are okay with dealing with Gentiles, so I guess they corner the market.
Beautiful.
Um, but But don't you think America was meant to happen? I mean, if God exists, I mean, he would be thinking, well, it was meant to happen. America was meant to happen. Jews are meant to come. Immigrants are meant to come. You know, everything that has happened was meant to happen. And we're supposed to extract moral lessons from what has happened so far.
Yeah, so Rabbi Mendel Keston has a lecture on YouTube on his Torah Thinking channel called "Why Is There Ashkenazic and Sephardic Jews?" And he talks about he only deals with like the intermarriage between Ashkenazic and Sephardic Jews, but I sort of implied that applies to all races. And like it's this idea that each race has its own way of serving Hashem, and so we have to get people to. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm saying this is what Rabbi Mendel Keston said. Excuse me, sorry. You see that?
Oh, what's happened?
And yeah, so by getting the races to mix, you're combining those different pathways of serving Hashem, the Creator, and you're fusing them together. And when Jews do this, they are actually taking part, active part in the Messianic rectification process.
Sorry, when Jews do what? They are.
When Ashkenazic and Sephardic Jews intermix, according to Rabbi Mendel Keston.
Well, they are allowed to marry each other, aren't they?
Yes.
They're just not allowed to marry Gentiles.
Right. But the thing is, like I'm in my personal experience in the Jewish dating world, I keep getting rejected by girls because like they come from like very religious families where like they have 10 kids in the family, and they have all these expectations of how they want the household to look.
Mm-hmm.
So because of those reasons, and also this like crowd I'm in is predominantly Ashkenazic.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's hard for me to fit in because I'm not of that background.
Right.
And like people, right? I'm swarthy.
But what about? Well, you can find Sephardic Jewesses, can't you?
Yeah, generally they're not religious enough for me.
Oh, so you're saying Sephardic women are less observant than Ashkenazi women? Is that what you're saying?
My experience, they tend to be what we call in Hebrew masorti, which in English translated as traditional. So it's like somewhere in between Orthodox and Conservadox.
Okay, but maybe you beggars can't be choosers. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's like we don't really have a queue of suitors.
Another issue I've been having is that the girls who have been eligible, I did some investigation, and they have tattoos. I'm serious.
Terrible.
This happened to like 3 different girls in the last 3 months. I rejected them because I found out they have tattoos. I asked them when I learned that they come from a non-observant background, I always say as a preliminary question, I have to ask, do you have any tattoos? And so far I've gotten 3 yeses.
Right.
But that's a deal breaker. I can't, no.
Well, what about tattoo removal?
I don't know.
Well, it's possible to remove your tattoos, right?
Yeah, they also leave scars. I'm not so happy with that either. And I have a very something I learned is that guys who are born Jewish and grow up in a Jewish environment, they have a tendency to have an aversion to tattoos. They might be degenerates who go to strip clubs and look at pornography, barely legal porn and all this garbage. But they're like no tattoos on their women that they marry at least.
Right. They have standards. Yes.
Ironically.
Yes, I suppose that's just a mark of being Gentile that you have tattoos and
is also a mark of being of an underclass, of being part of a traditionally it was only gang members and sailors had tattoos.
Yes, and there was a time when you couldn't join the police force if you had a tattoo. If you had tattoos.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, because it was just a sign of respectability. Yes, it's a
Wow.
shame. I don't know why people, feel they have to. But then, when you're young, I mean, you might have a few discreet tattoos, but to have it all over your thighs and your arm and your face,
Face. I've seen the
ugh.
yeah. Very yeah. I know many fine people with tattoos, but me personally, in terms of who I choose to date and marry, tattoos are a deal breaker. So you ladies out there, don't get tattooed. You guys out there, don't look at porn. Don't go to strip clubs.
Or else, I mean, the thing is, they don't really believe, which is why they do all these things, right? You know, I mean, they see everybody else do it, and nothing bad happens to them, and I think this is really the problem. People don't really believe. Nobody, confronts them about their disbelief, and then I guess it just spreads, and people say one thing and do another.
Yeah. Did you hear what Dr. Edward Dutton say about how like tattoos have become part of the system now? What do you think of that?
Well, in the sense that you can, it's like you see a picture of people in, I don't know, tights, and then okay, European men in tights, and you think of Robin Hood and that kind of thing, and then you see them wearing ruffles, and you think, oh, Elizabethan, because that was when they wore ruffles, and I guess future generations will look at our our tattoos and say, these are people in the early 21st century or the late 20th century.
Right.
People can identify us because of what we do to ourselves visibly.
Okay, we're coming on the hour mark, and I wanted to talk about this anti-gambling piece, but I guess that we can say that for a future stream. I have to run now.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for having me
I
on.
didn't mean to distract you from your thing. Okay, well, perhaps next time then.
It's a family matter. Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.